Shalom and welcome to 2 Minutes of Torah. This year is entitled The Appropriate Bracha for Grains, Part 2. We discussed that there are 4 levels of grains before they go into the cooking process, and we're going to elaborate on them now. There is the grain itself, a whole grain. Then there is a grain which is just the outer layer removed. Then the next level is where the outer layer is removed with part of the grain itself. The 4th level is where it's cut up into 2 or more pieces. The more it is processed before the cooking, then the easier it will become Mezonot, where it reaches its level as a chashav mezin sustaining food. So if it is a complete grain, it needs to reach the level of Isma'ech Yafeh, where it's cooked enough that it becomes more like a Daysa, like a mushed. And then it's Mezonot and Alamechia. Otherwise, it's Adama. If it just has the shell removed, then according to the Shulchan Aruch, once it goes through the cooking process, that itself makes it Mezonot. It's processed enough. While according to the Achronim, quoted in the Mishnah Berurah, it actually needs to be processed more with Nidbak Yafeh. They become stuck together, the grains. Then it becomes Mezonot. The next level will be where the grain itself is removed together with part of the outer shell. And then the Mishnah Berurah has an interesting term. He writes in that case that one who says Mezonot, ein limchop yadan. It's all right. You don't have to stop such a person from doing such an action. According to Rav Moshe, it would be lachatchila in such a case, that if the outer layer and part of the grain was removed and then it was cooked, just the cooking process itself was enough, we assume, to make it Mezonot. It already has reached that level as a chashav mazin kind of food. The final level, of course, is where it's cut into 2 pieces or more of the grain, or many more pieces than that, and then just the basic cooking process would be enough to make it into Mezonot, because the cooking process quickly acts on the grain, since it's totally exposed the grain itself to the cooking process, so it doesn't need to be broken down, the outer layers, and therefore a basic bishul would be enough. That's regarding the Bracha Rishonah. Where things get very tricky is the Bracha Achrona. Tosfot has a very big chiddush. He maintains that the Bracha on grain, which is not processed, is Hadama, which of course everyone accepts, is Hadama, the basic grain. But if it isn't processed, it remains Hadama, which is fine. But the Bracha Achrona is what? Is Al Ha'adama, since it is the grain, and it is a type of food that when it's cooked fully or baked fully, it will become Alamechia. So therefore it's a chashav of food. So even in its raw state, when you have the 5 grains, that in its raw state, you say the Bracha Me'in Shalosh Al Ha'adama V'Pri Adama, a bracha that we never heard of. So if this was just Tosfos Shita, then fine. The fact is it made its way into the Shulchan Aruch, and the Shulchan Aruch paskins that one should be concerned and not have a raw grain because of the problem of the Bracha Achrona. And he says you should only have it in the middle of a Seudah. So it's a fascinating Shita and has a lot of ramifications. Yitzhak will discuss this further in Shiur number 3 on the topic. Shalom.